Welcome to a presentation from ALA Emerging Leaders Team E, sponsored by the Intellectual Freedom Roundtable. This year's project is titled Fighting and Sharing Silent Censorship. Lara Devereaux currently works at Christopher Newport University in Newport News, Virginia. Aileen Haggerty is a library assistant at the Free Library of Philadelphia. Roxanne Pico-Lenz is the branch manager of the Newcastle Public Library in Oklahoma. Katie Scott is a youth services librarian in Conway, Arkansas. Jillian Underwood-Jenkins is an adult services librarian at Oceanside Public Library in Oceanside, California.
Team E was assigned the responsibility of carrying forward the efforts on the project titled Fighting Silent Censorship, initiated by the 2023 Emerging Leaders team that was also sponsored by the Intellectual Freedom Roundtable. Our objective was to conduct targeted outreach to states who had not yet completed a survey conducted by that team on book challenge reporting and information collection. The primary aim was to finalize the outstanding survey responses and gauge how to standardize and improve reporting measures. It was also determined that providing intellectual freedom resources to state library organizations would be necessary. After consulting with our Intellectual Freedom Roundtable project liaison, Team E decided to deviate from the previous Emerging Leader team's recommendations for this year's project. The 2023 team's data and reports were thorough and high quality, making replication unnecessary. Instead, Team E focused on addressing gaps in 2023 respondents and reporting challenges while creating content to facilitate public communication and education on intellectual freedom matters. In order to address the gaps from some states not responding to the 2023 survey, Team E conducted a new survey centered on challenge reporting and resource needs. The goal was to highlight effective processes and identify areas for improvement among state associations. Team E decided to address intellectual freedom education for both library professionals and the public through several different methods. Recognizing the scattered nature of resources across various websites and access points, we decided to create a centralized website for state and national resources regarding intellectual freedom matters. We also collected data from state associations to determine whether they already have intellectual freedom resources and if they would be interested in additional support. These resources include guidelines on where and how to report challenges, handling challenges effectively, and case studies and news articles that demonstrate how libraries around the country have withstood challenges and censorship. Based on the collected information, we created comprehensive resource guides for each state, including both respondents and non-respondents, that are housed on the website. Throughout the survey analysis, research, and follow-up discussions, a common issue emerged. Many library professionals lack time for public engagement and education on book challenges. To address this, Team E developed a social media kit offering ready-to-use content on book challenges, censorship, and advocacy, hosted on the new website. Something that was noted in our current research and the recommendations by the 2023 Emerging Leaders team was that there is a lack of standardization when it comes to reporting challenges and also when it comes to defining terms related to intellectual freedom, such as the words ban and challenge. We decided to use these terms as defined by the ALA in our survey, included resources, and social media kit. We also linked to the Office for Intellectual Freedom Challenge Reporting form on each state-specific information sheet and in the National Resources section of the website. After reviewing the 2023 report and its outcomes, Team E devised a new set of targeted questions to gather updated insights into the needs of libraries in 2024. Each team member was tasked with contacting 10 states, and one team member was also assigned to reach out to the District of Columbia. Initially, states were contacted via email using a script prepared by the team to encourage library association representatives to complete the survey. Additionally, the survey was shared via SIFNet meetings and the SIFNet forum. Follow up emails were sent as a second attempt to states that did not respond within 2 weeks. Phone calls were then made to states that had not responded to emails or the survey form. These efforts resulted in 39 out of 51 responses from the contacted library associations. The survey gathered information on challenges faced by libraries, including where and what types of challenges are reported, the availability of annual reports on challenges, dedicated resources within state library associations, and interest in a resource guide.
The survey gathered information on challenges faced by libraries, including where and what types of challenges are reported, the availability of annual reports on challenges, dedicated resources within state library associations, and interest in a resource guide. We received responses from library workers in 39 states. Question 2 asked who challenges were reported to. 39.1% of respondents report to the ALA Office of Intellectual Freedom. 25% of respondents report to their state library association. 18.8% of respondents report to their library administration. 10.9% of respondents report to their library board. And 3.3% of respondents were unsure where challenges were reported to. Question 4 asked if their state has an annual report that includes data regarding challenges. 64.1% reported no, 12.8% reported yes, and 23.1% reported not sure. Question 6 asked about dedicated resources for libraries dealing with challenges and censorship. 45.6% of state library associations have an intellectual freedom committee. 26.5% have a website. 13.2% have a toolkit. Question 8 asked if a challenges and censorship resource guide would be beneficial to their library. 74.4% said yes. 7.7% said maybe. 2.6% said yes if it was not labeled as affiliated with ALA.
Survey responses can help in understanding the current landscape of challenges and censorship management in libraries and identifying areas where additional support or resources may be needed. Survey responses indicated positive outcomes in the following areas. 1. Reporting channels. Libraries report challenges to various entities, including library administration, library boards, state library associations, and the American Library Association's Office of Intellectual Freedom. 2. Types of challenges reported. Commonly reported challenges include requests for reconsideration of books, complaints or concerns about library displays or programming, removal of materials from shelves without proper procedure, and restrictions on access to materials. 3. Resources and committees. Many states have intellectual freedom committees, toolkits, and web pages and other resources dedicated to addressing challenges and censorship issues. Some states also have rapid response teams or panels for handling these matters. 4. Willingness to engage. There is a general willingness among libraries to benefit from challenges and censorship resource guides, indicating a recognition of the importance of managing these issues effectively. Area that survey responses demonstrated could use improvement include the OIF challenge reporting form is not routinely used by all states. 2. Despite uniform definitions provided for intellectual freedom terms such as ban or challenge by the ALA, there is not really a standardization in how challenges and censorship is discussed amongst library associations and individual librarians. 3. Some states do not have an intellectual freedom committee, and furthermore, some states don't have an active or present state library association. Due to the political factors, there are also state associations that are unable or unwilling to even have material that is associated with the ALA, posing additional challenges to sharing these materials. Libraries are looking for ways to inform their patrons on the dangers of censorship and book banning. Moving forward, these are our recommendations for next steps. Consider creating more usable content that libraries can use for education. Keep links across ALA and other resource sites up to date. Links were commonly found to be dead or linked to information that was no longer correct. Having a website like ALA or IFRT does not guarantee that it will get used or that all resources will be found. Outreach from ALA and its committees to individual libraries should be done to ensure a broader reach to librarians. Reduce the number of questions asked in challenge reporting forms. People simply do not want to spend their time on long forms. More challenges would likely be reported if challenge reporting was simpler. Provide a monthly complimentary training session focused on effective management of challenges and censorship issues. Create a comprehensive guide to combating challenges encompassing a dedicated website that provides resources such as sample responses to intellectual freedom challenges and sample collection development guidelines. The following guide was designed as a starting point for state library associations that want to collect censorship data. This guide provides a sample of questions that an organization may want to include to collect intellectual freedom challenge data.
This media kit is meant to provide ready-to-post social media content to facilitate public-facing communication and education regarding intellectual freedom matters. The following social media graphics are intended to be able to fit a variety of library types and can be utilized together as a combined set or individually as a library or institution sees fit and necessary to raise public awareness. The American Library Association and many state library associations also have publicly shared social media toolkits. In addition to our toolkit, we strongly encourage libraries and information centers to look at other toolkits. We encourage libraries to use this information as inspiration for a format that will best fit the community that particular library serves.
After analyzing survey results, we concluded that a website would be useful in sharing the state information that we collected. This website is an accessible way to share state contacts, websites, and resources. The website includes a social media kit as well for all libraries to use. Our hope is that ALA or the IFRT will assume maintenance of the website so that it continues to be a useful resource to libraries nationwide.
On the Fighting Silent Censorship website, you can click on a state to learn more about resources, support, and news. For example, when I click on Illinois, I can see contact info, links to their Library Association and Intellectual Freedom Committee, and how to report challenges to their state. I can also see recent news regarding book challenges. We also have a page dedicated to national resources, both from the American Library Association and additional organizations, projects, and newsletters. You can also download our media kit to use for your own library's purposes.
A special thank you to Amanda Sand and the IFRT, Eric Strachane and the OIF, Beatrice Calvin and the ALA Emerging Leaders team, and Sam Liston of Oceanside Public Library for their help and support of this project. Thank you to all of the state library associations that were a part of our survey and provided censorship data. And thank you to all who stand up to censorship.